I'm just like I said, I just running through a series of emotions because I just got back from my workout. I did that after I could not understand that game to save my life. It was a tale of two halves.
Yes.
I mean, Vedral came out of that first half just looking like a champ. I mean, he was hitting his receivers. I mean, Nebraska's defense is suspect to say the best, but I mean, I was told that Rutgers has no offense to speak of, but I mean, even though it was 13-0, they were just looking like they were moving the ball, and all of a sudden halftime hit, and the script got completely flipped. I think he threw what, three interceptions in the second half,
Yes.
and some of those were just straight ugly passes.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that he was, hitting his receivers practically in stride for most of the second half, first half. In the second half, he was just throwing to. There were no black jerseys in a lot of places he was passing.
Yeah, Rutgers is just in a place where Graciano knows how they have to play a game to have a chance, and they definitely did it for the most part tonight, outside of those three picks. And then, of course, they would rather protect a lead than have to come back and win. And they were put in that situation after throwing an interception, which led to only a 27-yard drive needed, one play for them to lose the lead. And then they had to score, get the ball back and score. And of course, that's not the situation Rutgers wants to be in.
No,
And they couldn't even drive it long enough to get a field goal.
and it just seems like there was bad play calling on both sides. But I don't know is if Shiano does he call the plays for Rutgers or they have an OC for that? But whoever their play caller is, they need to be fired because it almost looked like I was saying in chat. It looked like Matt Weiss and Harbaugh calling plays for us. They Rutgers looked like they were playing not to lose instead of to win the game, and it looked like it ended up costing them.
Yeah. Well, that's how they play every game. That's
I
their
see it,
style.
and I don't know tons about Rutgers, so this was kind of a refresher course on how Rutgers plays. So, but I thought Shiano was a little bit more of a gambler than that.
Well, I think he was a gambler with the Rutgers program that he built in the Big East that was more competitive against its peers and had talent that was close to West Virginia, Pitt, etc., as opposed to what he's got now. And especially when he's got a game like this, where he figures, I've got a chance to win this game. Like, this is one of their games, one of the 3 to 4 games that they play out of 9 that he has a reasonable chance of winning. And that's what he determines the formula to be, especially since Nebraska has a long history now of making the mistake that's going to hand the game to the other team. So I understand his approach.
Yeah, I guess he just kind of thought that he kind of rest on his laurels because, and I see Nebraska made some mistakes. Now I thought that when they went for it on was it 4th and 2, was it 4th and 2, 4th and 3 when they were in field goal range, they could have cut it to a field goal lead. Actually, I think it would have been. I think that would have made it a. It would have been within a field goal instead. They went for it and just they got nothing. It looks like. I mean, I don't know, is Anthony Grant not 100% because it seemed like their backup running back was in a lot that game.
Yeah, I don't know if anything happened to him during the game, but he still carried the ball the most. He had 18 or 19 carries, but I don't know if anything happened during the course of the game or just because he wasn't too successful that they thought that Jacques Yant could have been the guy tonight.
Now, now is their backup the Yant Jan? I can't remember how you
Yes,
pronounce it.
he's the
Is he
backup.
more of like a utility guy, kind of like
No,
like
he's a hitch it between the tackles muscle guy.
strictly North and South runner?
Yeah, I don't want to say that he's strictly north and south, but he's not a utility guy. He's not going to be a guy that you're going to get involved in the passing game or do exotic things with. No.
Mm-hmm. 'Cause I mean that game, like I said, it just confused me because I didn't know I didn't know whose identity was what because I thought Rutgers was gonna looking at the first half, I thought Rutgers was going to run away with this, and then it just completely imploded.
They still ran Grant 19 times and Yant only 4.
Hmm.
So they stayed with Grant.
Because it seems like every time I was looking up, that Yant guy was on the field. And Maybe it was just because it seemed like he was kind of doing. It seemed like he was trying to do too much. I don't know what Grant was doing. I guess he just wasn't that effective against the Rutgers front seven. I mean,
This is how ineffective.
how many
Go
yards
ahead.
did Grant have on
He
those
only had
19 carries?
47 yards on 19 carries.
Yeah, I guess that kind of explains why you can't. That's about what 2.7 yards per carry.
Yeah, 2.5.
2.5. That yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that now.
you know, North Nebraska is getting torched in the secondary by every team uh, on the planet, and Rutgers went 12 of 30 passing tonight with 3 interceptions.
And how much of that was just Vedral just completely bottoming out in the second half, though. I mean, his stats at the first half couldn't have been that bad.
No, because he led a touchdown drive right out of the gate. So, yeah, that just shows you that Rutgers is so anemic throwing the ball that even against a horrible pass defense, they're completing 35% of their passes.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, is this like, because I know a lot of times whenever, a coach gets fired, they'll kind of rally around the interim. And I was just kind of wondering if this is like, you know, the team just kind of, trying to get Mickey Joseph the job or something.
Well, that was the thought going into Oklahoma that they might be able to pull the upset. Now it's kind of strange to think that Oklahoma's looked as bad as they have the last 2 weeks. Nebraska fires Frost. Mickey Joseph takes the job. A lot of people were thinking, hey, they're going to have this big inspirational effort, their first game, and they get completely run out of the stadium by Oklahoma. And now Oklahoma looks awful. And Nebraska, let's understand that they've beaten maybe the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten, along with Northwestern. The bottom of the Big Ten's not looking too sharp right now. There's a collection of teams that are pretty bad. And
Yeah.
Nebraska, Scott Frost might have won these games as well. They killed Northwestern last year. They beat Rutgers the last time they played them 2 years ago in Piscataway. So these aren't necessarily, I wouldn't chalk these up to Mickey Joseph. He held serve. He beat 2 teams that they should beat. Now, if he can pick off a Minnesota, a Purdue, and Illinois, then that's going to show me something.
Yeah, I was thinking that too because it looks like Nebraska's. Like I said, they've got Indiana up. They've got Northwestern up. They've got Rutgers up. So now they're kind of going to get in the meet their schedule, and we're going to kind of see if they can, really do something for Mickey because it's not going to get easier from here on out.